Hello and welcome back. This is Dr. Ron with Impact Ministry, and this is an Impact Moment. Take a moment and subscribe to this YouTube channel, and we're so appreciative for you following these teachings and this ministry. I want to jump right back into Matthew, and we'll be in chapter 8 still, and we're going to talk about a beautiful portion of Scripture that just has so many wonderful teachings in it. It's when Jesus was with the disciples on the Sea of Galilee and they get their first encounter with a storm. And it says this in chapter 8 of Matthew, verse 23. Then Jesus got into the boat and started across the lake with his disciples. Suddenly, a fierce storm struck the lake with waves breaking into the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, "Lord, save us. We're going to drown." Jesus responded, "Why are you afraid? You have so little faith." Then he got up and rebuked the wind and waves, and suddenly there was a great calm. The disciples were amazed. "Who is this man?" they asked. "Even the winds and waves obey him." Wow. Such a wonderful, wonderful portion of Scripture where Jesus is continuing to spend time with his disciples and teach them so many lessons that they would have to take with them deep into their being once he was crucified and would be resurrected and be seated with the Father. They would have to remember lessons such as this. Well, what are the lessons? One of them in particular is that you can sleep in any storm you have authority over, or you have authority to the measure you can sleep in a storm. Storms are common in life, and they come our way. They come seemingly out of the blue. We go through circumstances, things that we just can't explain. And Jesus was imparting to them how to handle storms. He slept through it. Now, not everybody can sleep through a storm, so there are other illustrations in there that he wanted to bring out in giving us this beautiful epic story in the Bible. Another principle is he made mention of their faith. He said, "Why do you have such little faith that to think that this storm would actually destroy you?" It really goes back to what he told them earlier in verse 18 when he said this. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he instructed his disciples to cross to the other side of the lake. Now, why would Jesus, after instructing them to go to the other side of the lake, in other words, he had already released to them what was going to happen. He had already let them know, we're going to make it to the other side of the lake. So when this storm started to hit them, what he wanted them to do was be reminded of what he already said. Oftentimes in life, when a storm hits us, all we really have to do is go back to what God has already said. Now, in our church, we believe in the gifts of the Spirit, and prophecy is a part of our culture at Global Church, where I serve on the pastoral team. And I've received some words of prophecy that, quite frankly, scare me to death. And that's how I know they're good ones, because I sit in amazement and I wonder, God, how on earth are you going to bring this to pass? And circumstances come my way that seemingly threaten these prophetic words that the Lord has declared over my life. But in those moments, I'll just go back and I'll get out my notebook and I'll start to use them as weapons, and I'll say, Father, you said this, you said that. Therefore, I know you're going to bring it to pass. God will never release a word that doesn't have its own power to fulfill itself. His word is that powerful. So as they went through this storm and as Jesus taught them these valuable lessons, there would be another storm later on where Jesus would actually give them the same instructions. I'm going to meet you on the other side. And they would be by themselves, and Jesus would go on and he would spend time in prayer. And late at night, he would come walking on the water, and the Bible will say he meant to go past them. Jesus was training them how to rebuke storms. Not every storm is sent by God the Father. That's what Scripture teaches us. Because why else would Jesus rebuke a storm? Thank you again for joining us today. I really am grateful. I'm grateful for your following. Remember to visit our website for more information about donations, guest speakers scheduling, and bulk orders for churches and leadership teams. Links are provided in the description for this video. If you were blessed with this video, please share it with others. A link for my Amazon author page, as well as a link for our website, is provided in the banner image on our channel. As always, I declare blessings on you, your family, your children, and your children's children to the 1,000th generation. God has plans to prosper you. Remember, you were created for impact as you learn more about your biblical identity, purpose, and destiny. God bless you is my prayer.